California's monopoly territory is home to 17 million people.
Families already struggle to pay their bills.
AGD was convicted of 91 felonies.
Really? I mean, what's next?
Greybeard Talks Solar. He is SolarWise.
Welcome to the Greybeard Talks Solar YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining today. I appreciate you being here. Hopefully this information being shared today is thoughtful, meaningful, wise advice for you on solar. And today I'm going to be talking about something interesting. We're going to be talking about a broken arm, Mexico, and solar. How do these three things relate? Well, stay tuned. Smash that like, subscribe, and share button if you find the information to be valuable. And let's jump into it today. So let me start with the basics, a little understanding about me, right? So I'm a married man, been married to my wife now for 31 years. We have 4 incredible boys. And today's story begins with one of my sons. And he's an avid snowboarder. Actually works at a coffee shop up in North Star in Lake Tahoe. Loves snowboarding. And he was snowboarding in early February and basically came down the mountain. And my other son was with them. And they were at the end of the day, last run of the day. Typical, right? When you think about how sometimes accidents happen. But last run of the day, they're coming down the mountain, about to make it back to the lodge. My son catches some sort of backside, frontside edge, whatever. He tumbles. He's falling down the mountain on his stomach with his head kind of looking up the hill. And he was going pretty good, falling pretty fast and sliding pretty fast. And his left arm ends up hitting a tree and he breaks his, I think it's called the ulnar bone. It's basically kind of the almost like the forearm bone, but breaks that right by his wrist, right? And didn't know right away that he had broken the bone. But became obvious a little later that that's exactly what had happened. And working at a coffee shop, up until a seasonal job, it didn't have long-term health insurance, so did not have insurance coverage, did not have medical insurance, etc. So really crappy situation. A lot of young people right now are in that same situation, right? So he ends up scheduling an appointment to go see a orthopedic surgeon and has a visit with an orthopedic surgeon. Definitely going to need surgery for it. It's not something that you can cast. It's a very particular break that generally always needs plates and screws. And so get this. Here's how our medical insurance works in the States here in California. The cost for this surgery, out of pocket for him, because he doesn't have any medical insurance, they hit him at $55,000. Okay, $55,000. Not anywhere in the realm of his capacity to be able to pay for that. Definitely wanted to go into medical debt. For that, did not want to be in a situation where for the next 5 years he's paying that off. And so it was really, really upsetting for him and discouraging for him. And he wasn't quite sure what to do. And he's got a limited amount of time to make the decision. And here's how our medical care works here in California as well. The orthopedic surgeon said, hey, listen, if you pay now, we'll give you a 30% discount. So now it's high 30s, low 40s as a cost. Obviously, he didn't go that route. So we own and have owned for the last 8 years. Well, let me qualify. Let me step back. 20 years plus, we've been vacationing in Mexico. Bought a property about 9 years ago down there, basically in the Cabo area. And I myself have suffered some medical events down in Mexico and have had incredible care down there. Last time I was in a hospital down there, I had a kidney stone, and it's just one of those things that, I had to seek hospital care for to get taken care of. And just some of the best medical care I'd ever had. So we talked to our son, maybe you should consider flying to Mexico. Maybe Mexico could do the surgery down there. And so a couple of phone calls later, I had a few contacts. I reached out to the doctor that had done my surgery. He referred me to an orthopedic. And next thing you know, we were talking with the orthopedic, sending him all the x-rays. And the orthopedic surgeon down in Mexico said, yeah, I can do the surgery. And it's going to cost you basically 77,000 pesos for the surgery. Which at current exchange rate, we're talking about maybe $3,500, like 1/15 the cost. Okay. So that's exactly what we did. We jumped on a plane with our son, flew down to Mexico. He had the surgery about a week and a half ago, went really well. 5 screws, 1 plate later, in and out, great care, great facility. Everything was done top notch. And it just had me thinking, it had me thinking about what it costs for medical care coverage in the States, how many young people are burdened by that. Thankfully, we had the contacts, the familiarity, the awareness, and the resources to be able to fly him down there and get that medical care for him, get that surgery done, and he's in recovery. It's going well. He's got full function of his hand now. Didn't even need a cast. Flew home that same 2-3 days later, and it's been him in full recovery since then. But it had me thinking about how things work here in California. And it had me drawing some parallels between medical coverage, the expense of it, what's happening in California with energy costs, the expense of it, PG&E Energy, many other utilities, outrageously expensive for most folks. And then we found a workaround. We found an opportunity to not have to take on, the cost of $50,000+ for surgery here and instead do it in Mexico. And I drew the parallel that, I've mentioned several different times, on this particular channel that we have options right now that homeowners can take advantage of that could dramatically reduce the cost of their energy expense monthly. For example, the power purchase program right now, one of the companies that we have, a company called Everbright, we have another company called Infin, we've got a company called GoodLeap. And the premise behind a power purchase program is that another company, third-party ownership, TPO, they call it, third-party owner, owns the system that they install at your property to serve and deliver energy to you that's meaningfully cheaper than what you can buy from PG&E, Edison, or San Diego Gas and Electric here in California. So very similarly, I drew some comparisons or parallels. Why would you want to pay that outrageous expense of cost in the States when you can go to Mexico and get it cheaper? Why would you want to pay, twice as much for energy from PG&E, Edison, or San Diego Gas and Electric when there's an alternative to that doesn't have to have you spend $1. There's no loan that you have to get. There's no cash that you have to come up with. There's not even a deposit required. And these power purchase programs right now are the cheapest monthly expense that you can get for energy today, other than writing a check for a system and owning it outright, right? So not a lot of people have the cash to be able to write a check for it, but a lot of people would want to benefit from the savings that you can achieve. So whereas my son got a 1/15 benefit, our general savings with solar, best case scenario right now, and for example, in PG&E territory, many consumers and homeowners are dealing with rates at 43 cents a kilowatt hour for tier 1 usage, and as much as 63 cents a kilowatt hour for what we call tier 2 usage. So 40 to 60 cents, let's come in the middle, let's say it's 50 cents. Some of these power purchase programs we're seeing cost as low as 18 cents, for the same, 20, 21, 22, 24 cents a kilowatt hour for the same. So it just had me wanting to share that I think today's age, you have to be diligent about finding alternatives. You have to definitely think outside the box a little bit in terms of what your resources are. You need to avail yourself to different perspectives, different sources of information to be able to draw on to make the most informed decision as possible. It's also part of the reason that I do this YouTube channel, is to help people know that there are other things out there that maybe they weren't exposed to, right? So there's 3 schools of knowledge, I always like to say. This was said by somebody else. I'm just copying them. I don't remember who, but here's the 3 schools of knowledge, right? The stuff you know, the stuff you don't know, and then there's this whole other world, I didn't know that. Right? So the I didn't know, much bigger than the other 2 categories. And so we want to be a resource for you to share knowledge and information and resources to you that you might not have otherwise been easily able to avail yourself to. So if that makes sense, then definitely reach out to us and explore solar. If you're burdened by the cost of energy right now, if you're living more uncomfortably than you've ever lived in your home before, if you're dealing with the most expensive utility bills that you've ever dealt with, I've got to say to you, there are alternatives. Some alternatives that don't make you have to come up with the cash, alternatives that don't have to make you get a loan, alternatives that allow you to be able to transfer the solar system and the obligation to buy energy from it to another home buyer as easily as a soft credit inquiry. There are other options. So if that makes sense to you, here's what I'd like you to do. Text YouTube. If you'd like to explore this further, YouTube to the 5-digit short code text number I'm about to give you. Text YouTube to 84503. If you text YouTube to 84503, my team will be in touch. We'll help you to explore some of these options. We'll see if we can't help you to likewise spend a fraction of the same money that you would have spent otherwise on energy from the utility with maybe energy from solar. So one last time, text YouTube to 84503. And thanks you so much for watching the Greybeard Talks Solar channel. Please, again, smash that like, subscribe, and share button if you found the information to be thoughtful and informative. And don't forget, stay charged, stay informed, and my friends, keep shining. We'll see you next week on the Greybeard Talks Solar YouTube channel. Greybeard out.
Thanks for listening to SolarWise. Greybeard Talks Solar. Please visit our website, solarwiseco.com, to learn more. And we will see you next time on SolarWise.